God forgives. The Brotherhood doesn't. Welcome back to the You Guys podcast. I'm Rob, that's Liam, and this week we're diving headfirst, helmet off, into the most gloriously excessive action movie of the early 90s, 1991's Stone Cold. And right out of the gate, the film hits you with a supermarket standoff that feels suspiciously familiar. I mean, it's basically the opening of Cobra. Same setup, same energy, but I'm not convinced copying Cobra is the best idea when your hero looks less like a gritty street cop and more like a white King Kong in a sleeveless leather vest. Subtlety is not the film's strong suit. This is the film where Brian the Boz Bosworth, NFL rebel, hair icon, a man who looks like he was carved out of creatine, goes undercover in a biker gang. So chaotic, they make the Sons of Anarchy crew look like they're running a community outreach program. And then there's Ice. William Forsythe plays him like a man who's been running on pure adrenaline and bad decisions for several consecutive days. He's all wild eyes, twitchy energy, and the kind of sweaty intensity that suggests he's pre-games every confrontation with a lungful of exhaust fumes. He's unhinged, unpredictable, and somehow still not remotely scary. He's the kind of villain who screams in your face and you think, mate, you'd need electrolytes and a nap. Meanwhile, Bosworth struts through the film like a man who's been told he's the coolest person alive and absolutely believes it. His wardrobe alone could power a small nation. Leather vest, sleeveless everything, and a mullet so aerodynamic it should have been classified as a weapon. And Liam, since this was your first time witnessing the Boz in his natural habitat, I need to know, is Stone Cold a forgotten action masterpiece, or is it the cinematic equivalent of protein bar dipped in motor oil? And one final question, why crack the egg? What nutritional dimension was he unlocking there? What possible value does the sludge have for a Komodo dragon?
Yeah, there's a lot to answer there. It's weird when you say about the Boz and his natural habitat, because obviously, like, the Boz's natural habitat was actually an NFL field, and
Yeah.
it's like for people over here, most people would hear the Boz or they would hear Bosworth, and it doesn't actually mean anything to them because
Yeah,
this
but
film was like a pretty big flop. He's gone on to make some straight to DVD stuff, but in America, the Boz, for like a relatively short period, was one of the biggest names in American sports. Like, he was huge in college football. The reason I know the Boz, if we're going to call him that, isn't because of movies. It's because I watched a documentary on his career in the NFL, his build up to the NFL. And, he was absolutely one of the best prospects in the whole country coming out of college. He's picked in the first round by the Seattle Seahawks and played 3 seasons before his career was ended by a shoulder injury. But his whole thing is like he's this larger than life character. It's basically they took like a wrestler and put him in the NFL. And of course, it's just kind of gone both ways with The Rock and all these other guys and stuff. And you can see why they put him in this movie, why they thought this might work. You got to remember, like, early 90s, this was the period when, speaking of wrestlers, The Undertaker, Hulk Hogan, all these guys, they were sticking them in movies and seeing if it was going to work.
Yeah, but maybe.
And the difference with this and so many of, say, Hulk Hogan's is that, other than the fact that it absolutely bombed at the cinema, it kind of does work, bizarrely.
It does. It kind of works. But maybe a smaller, less conspicuous guy to go undercover. I'm just highlighting the fact that he is fucking massive.
But you saw the guys in the Brotherhood, in fairness. They're not exactly small guys /
Yeah,
small
they're not exactly
characters.
small guys, but none of them are exactly going to the gym.
Well,
either,
nobody's
let's
the
be
ball.
fair.
Like you said, you mentioned his wardrobe is fucking bananas.
His
mullet-
wardrobe is his own. I guarantee you,
it is.
it's his own. Sorry to go. You said you were introduced to him via documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With his
Do you want to know
football
how I know the Boz or
Go for it.
Bosworth? There was a film and I got in Stone Cold late. Not late in my life, late, like it was 91 and I probably saw
Yeah.
it late 90s. A film that come out and I wanted to watch it because of the name and I wanted to rent it from the video shop because of the name alone. It was released.
That speaks, that really speaks to your approach to movie watching in like the late 80s, early 90s. You were just like, that name sounds cool. I'm fucking going for it.
I mean, I was a kid. It was released in America as a One Man's Justice.
Mm-hmm.
We got it over here as One Tough Bastard.
Yeah, I saw that when I was looking at his back catalogue, and it literally said One Tough Bastard. And I looked at the poster, I was like, well, that says a completely different thing. What the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
So, I guess it's based on the market.
Yeah.
One Tough Bastard is definitely a better title.
Oh, and dude, and like the names of people in that film. Jeff Kober, you probably don't know his name, but you know his face. I'm not going to explain what he was in. Bruce Payne, MC Hammer, MC Gainey, because they needed all the MCs.
Jesus Christ.
Neil McDonough.
Neil McDonough was in it.
Yeah,
I mean, I that's the thing. I literally heard about this film yesterday. But then if it wasn't for this podcast, I would have never heard of Stone Cold. Stone Cold
yeah,
completely passed me by. And this film, like, you say with that, it's like, oh, MC Hammer and stuff's in it.
yeah.
The thing that surprises you when you go and watch this film is that some of the names are actually like of a high quality. It's like,
Yeah,
like you already
Lance
mentioned, William
Henriksen.
Forsythe,
Yeah,
Sam McMurray, Paolo Tucker, I think his name is, Lance Henriksen, Richard Gant, sorry, who
yeah.
most people know as basically playing the Don King stand-in in Rocky Five. I think his character's name was like George Washington Duke, something ridiculous like that. He's absolutely awesome. That film is ass, but he's great in that film.
Hit me and I'll sue.
Yeah,
Hit me and I'll sue, motherfucker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although bizarrely, one of the faces that really jumped out to me, and at first I didn't know the dude's name, but I was like, that's the fucking biker guy from the start of T2. And it's played basically the character's name is Mudfish, and it's played by Robert Winley. And
Yeah.
he's got like a sneaky, awesome IMDb. He was in T2, and if I say T2, he's the guy who Arnie he steals his clothes. So at the start of the film, when he gets into that big bar fight, he's the guy who throws in the keys, and he basically ends up butt naked because Arnie's taking all his clothes. He's also in Near Dark, and he's in Pale Rider with Clint Eastwood. So that dude's got like a bit of an IMDb, which of course the Boz doesn't have because this film flopped. I was wondering, like, did people just not take to the Boz, or is it a case that this film was just a few years late to the party? I feel like if this had been released in like 87, 88, it would have done much better. By 91, already the whole like action movie star thing is taking a bit of a turn. Even like the kind of traditional muscle guys from the 80s, their movies are changing slightly. This is a proper throwback. I know it's like 91, but if nobody told you otherwise, you'd be like, well, this must be like 88. It just feels like an 80s movie. And I just get the impression that if it had been released a few years earlier, it might have done at least a little bit better.
I don't think it hit us too late. We were still in this weird biker craze by then. I mean, we had Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas, who loved to travel around. That did more fucking seasons than it needed to. I think that did 5 or 6 seasons, Renegade. I don't think it hit too late. And I am a fan of this film. Fan in funny years, should we say. Like,
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
think
fun.
that's
Yeah. But the problem that I have, and I like Boz in One Tough Bastard. I like him in this. I just think he stands out. And the one thing I will say they're trying to do is capture. Yeah, you are right in regards to they're still thinking it's an 80s film. From the way his house is, from the way he acts, from everything that he does, he's an 80s guy in a 90s film. It's very odd to say he's that 80s action hero, not like fucking Hulk Hogan or any of those B movie going to. But they're trying to turn him into.
No.
They offered
like
this film to Schwarzenegger. They offered this film to Schwarzenegger, and he turned it down. And then randomly they ended up with Bosworth. So,
well, you said it at the start in the introduction. Like, I beyond the fact that as soon as I see a convenience store shootout, I immediately think of the start of RoboCop. But you're right in saying
Cobra.
that. Well, no, RoboCop. I was going to say, like, it just reminds me of RoboCop because there's a shootout in a convenience store. But what it really reminded me of is Cobra, and you can totally imagine a world where this was written for Sylvester Stallone, and he goes undercover with this bike gang, and he would have the look, with the fucking toothpick and the glasses and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, it's not one of those like B movies like so many other Boz ones you've mentioned there, where you're just like, well, it's straight to DVD nonsense. You can see the budget in this film, you can see the cast, and you can totally imagine it with like a big star in the lead. And obviously, they've taken a punt on this guy as being the next big thing, and it just hasn't worked out. And I thought I just kind of went on the assumption it was going to be rubbish. It was going to be hokey crap. The fact is, it is silly, but it's well shot, well directed, largely well acted. The biggest issue is that it just doesn't pick a lane. There's too many fucking things going on. Like when they introduced the fucking mafia like halfway through, I was like, you have got to be fucking shitting me. I still don't know what's going on with fucking Governor Whip, let alone these fucking Italian mafia guys who then just disappear.
And the member of the Brotherhood who comes in dressed like Che Guevara.
Like, please, right? Because I've only seen this once. I watched it yesterday. I feel like I got a pretty good. It's one of those odd films where, on the surface, it's all cliched and it's a relatively simplistic plot. However, it's both simplistic and needlessly complicated at the same time. Yeah. It's very odd. You're watching it, and because it keeps jumping around, you're like, what is the importance of this? And usually the answer is nothing. It's not particularly important. But as soon as the Che Guevara dude stepped up and there was talk of helicopters and stuff, I was just like, wait, what exactly is the fucking plan here?
Because I thought he was a what are they called in America when they started on military compounds and
Oh yeah,
militia, militia.
militia, yeah.
I thought he was a member of a militia who was doing business with them.
Yeah.
No, apparently he's a member of the Brotherhood, just not a biker.
Yeah, it's very strange. And one of the things you don't even mention, and it's probably worth going on record here and saying we're not purposefully doing an accidental white supremacist month, by the way, because I'm not sure if you noticed on the flags,
Yeah.
they've got the little SS signs. Like, if the next two films are Mississippi Burning and American History X, that's a hell of a start to fucking 2020
Yeah. Like, I didn't even think about that. But when you look at
we've accidentally, I picked last week Prayer of the Rollerboys. I had no recollection of all the white supremacy in that film. There's loads of it. And then you watch this film and you see the SS flags. And like you said last week with Prayer of the Rollerboys, you suddenly look around the cast and you're like, wow, there's a lot of crackers in this film.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, they're all racist. It's just,
I mean,
they just bury the lead.
In Chain's sleeping quarters, he has a Nazi flag. When they walk in, I was like, Jesus Christ, it's a swastika. And then I realized the same thing. I realized the same thing. We've gone full Third Reich. Like, what the fuck have we done?
It's crazy, right? I don't know. We both picked films where we've simply forgotten that there were white supremacists in it. It's so bizarre. Very odd choice. But
sorry, before we move on and everything, I need to talk about the opening, not the cobra-ness of it. Just the opening. First of all, how excessive and completely different all three of those bad guys are. You've got
I am so glad you noticed.
You've got the psycho who seems to be on every kind of drugs, holding the girl with the biggest set of headgear I've ever seen for braces. That was ridiculous.
And he's holding a shotgun one-handed. That can only end in tears, but fair enough.
You've got Samuel L. Jackson from Coming to America. In there as well, who doesn't want to go looking for his friend, and then you've got I like the sidekick kind of dude who gets taken out straight away.
Yeah.
And none of them are covering the front because they've already taken them all hostage. None of them are covering the front entrance because Bosworth walks in. There's no hint that he knows what's going on. But he manages to go everywhere around. They're by the tills. They're by the entrance.
Everything about that sequence is mental. So, firstly, the introduction of the boss himself. I mean, I don't want to say it's quite Omar Sharif and Lawrence of Arabia, but the boots, the jeans, the duster, the mullet, which, make no mistake, like I said earlier, is one of one. There are many mullets, but this one is mine. There is no other mullet like the Boz's. There is no, like, I've never seen a mullet like it. It's like halfway up. It's got this huge tail down the back. It's a thing of beauty in many respects. So he walks in, like you said, you got the one guy going crazy. And for a start, they're totally like they've got just too many guns for stealing a convenience. They're robbing a convenience store and they're armed like they're going into battle. I've never seen such a quick bitch out by one of the bad guys. So the Samuel L. Jackson character, and that sounds racist because he's the black guy, but he does have that vibe to him if you've seen Coming to America and this movie. So they're all like talking shit. And all he says to him, they hear a sound. They don't see the boss. They just hear a sound. And immediately he's like, go check out that sound. He is immediately terrified. Like, dude, you've got a newsie. Who do you think is going to be around the corner? Of course, it turns out to be the boss and he gets his ass whooped. But there's nothing to suggest that there would actually be trouble he couldn't handle around the corner. And he is immediately terrified. Like, it's like, oh, could you just check out fucking Elm Street for me? It's just like, Jesus Christ. I mean, and then the action sequence that follows is ludicrous. But
is the noise they hear? I can't remember. Was there 3 or 4 bad guys?
There were 3.
One of them puts a gun to Boz while he's eating a cookie, and he's like, "Relax, man."
That's the
Is that the guy that's absolutely terrified? Okay, that's
no. The dude who's terrified is the black guy, who's like basically the crazy guy. Like they just hear a sound because he's walking down the aisle with a trolley, and he's like, "Go check that out." And he's like, "Man, I didn't sign up for this shit." Like that's not the basis. No,
because he sends the Samuel L. Jackson character.
Yeah.
When the other guy goes missing.
Yeah. But
I mean, I watched it a couple of days ago, but Jesus, I couldn't remember if there's 3 or 4. The whole introduction of that is absolutely insane. What I love though is when the psychotic leader, when he decided to just cut bait and fuck off, and he slipped on the baby oil that was on the floor, the way he took out those Coke cans, he's a quadriplegic at this point. Like they're full Coke cans, crates of them. And he went in spine first.
Yeah, there's a couple of like surprisingly violent moments in this film. One of the other
Yeah.
ones that gets me, and it's one of the best sequences in the film, and I'm jumping forward a little bit. We can obviously come back. But when the Boz and William Forsythe Ice have a chase about an hour into the film on bikes, yeah, and it's
Is
like
that when
that.
he realizes he's a cop?
Yeah. So he
Yeah.
realizes he's a cop after that whole elaborate. They make this big thing of this like elaborate plan to like put him in with the guys. So it's like, oh, they send an FBI agent, he kills him, but it's all been faked. And then 2 minutes later, he gets completely undone by like Lance just sending a message over like the CB radio. I'm like, for fuck's sake, guys.
Yeah.
So that turns into this big chase. And the chase is awesome. And it looks like they're both genuinely on those bikes. It has a bit of the kind of Tom Cruise thing where it's just like,
Yeah.
they're not doing huge cutaways. I'm just like, I think those two guys are on the bike. When Ice unexpectedly and very violently hits a car, it is one of the most convincing crash scenes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't flip over the car. He just hits it and just a dead stop. Bang. And you're just like, fuck, that dude is dead. It just like it was one of the most convincing crashes I've ever seen. And it just comes out of nowhere because this film totally, like you said, that opening is so 80s. And then it kind of moves into this kind of more traditional early 90s kind of action thriller thing. It's got like dopey stuff in it. But like you said, it's got white supremacists that they're trying to add a bit of depth. And then all of a sudden you get the Mississippi courtroom shootout at the end, which goes right back to the fucking 80s. So yeah, it's a weird mix. And there's a bit of kind of thematic whiplash with this film.
You mentioned Ice. I have to ask. Best psychotic sidekick or second in command of the last two films? Ice or Bullwinkle?
Oh, Ice for sure. Ice
I was going to say,
sure.
I mean, to be fair, Bullwinkle doesn't strike. I mean, Ice doesn't strike any fear into my heart. He's acting hard. It doesn't.
But he is crazy. He's clearly crazy.
Bullwinkle doesn't either, and he's on rollerblades. So I just look at him and go, "Oh, bless you." Oh, you're trying to intimidate me.
Yeah,
Oh,
no, it didn't really work in this. Whereas with him, like you said, I'm not convinced he's necessarily tough, but I am convinced that he's crazy. And in fairness, I think they do a good job with the Brotherhood early doors, where they're having like that kind of party and they're just like shooting cans off each other's heads. I love how even when he's shooting the newsie, there's like the whole crowd are just standing behind him, like cheering him on. I'm just like 8 of you dead now. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they even have like the Indiana Jones sequence where they're being dragged along behind bikes, apparently for fun. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ.
I don't care how accurate you are. Okay. If you're shooting an Uzi at me, I'm moving. Yeah. You are not shooting at Uzi off my shoulder with any sort of aim. But, none at all.
These are some crazy guys. I mean, you only have to look at the names: Chains, Gut, Bolivian, Ice, Tool. These are the kind of names that exist in this movie. And that's not to mention Stone, of course.
Bolivian was the spider web guy.
He was the spider.
Yeah.
I have to ask, right? I've never had a tattoo. You've had a couple of tattoos, yeah?
I've had a few.
How much do you think it would hurt to get the inside of your ear tattooed? I have no, you hear these stories where it's just like, oh, if you get a tattoo on your ass, it sucks. And I only know that it's like if my wife is like picking a spot on my backside, it feels very sensitive. So it's just like, I can imagine a tattoo would suck. I've heard like your neck blows, the back of your arm. And I'm just like, I can't really get an idea of how bad it would hurt to have a tattoo of my ear.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I pinched the...
We're both just pinching our ear now like psychos.
I mean, it doesn't really hurt. Like, I really dig the nail in to get some feeling.
Yeah, I suspect it. Like, it looks like it would hurt, but I think it wouldn't.
But that went down closer to the drum, which I think is going to be some pain.
So I'd bitch out. I get like a fucking elbow tattoo. You can just chop away at that all day. Nobody feels shit. Have you ever pinched your elbow? You don't feel anything. It's just weird.
Until you fucking hit your elbow on something, then it's...
Oh, yeah, that's the bone. That's a different thing. But the skin on your elbow is like somebody else's. It's like a fucking elephant's kneecap. It's all very strange. Or maybe that's just mine. Who knows? One of the reasons... we mentioned earlier the fact that I'd never seen this film and I hadn't really heard of it. I wonder if one of the reasons is simply because the name is just fundamentally disappeared from Google search. Like, I can't think of another movie whose name has been fundamentally erased by the success of something else. So basically, if you type in Stone Cold, you just get Stone Cold. You've got to so specifically type in Stone Cold movie 1991. The only one, funny enough, I can think of is another movie we covered over Christmas. If you type in Jack Frost, you're not getting 1996's Jack Frost. You're getting 1997's Jack Frost with Michael Keaton, just because it's the more famous movie.
Yeah.
But I can't think of too many other films where it's ostensibly been erased from history just because it's got the wrong name.
No, I can't think. I mean, to be fair, I've always convinced myself this. It's really weird. I knew about this film. I've seen this film when I was a kid. I've told you I've seen it a couple of times going forward. But I wasn't 100% sure of the name. It was
Yeah,
just the Brian Bosworth undercover film to me. And then Stone Cold, and then, okay, but then that gets erased with Steve Austin, as we've just said. Then it comes back, then it goes again. So it's one of those things that just keeps disappearing out of my recollection. And then it just
I
comes
just can't
back.
remember ever coming over it. And it's weird, like you mentioned there about it, like, the undercover movie. There's so many things going on in this film. And of course, that's a fundamental part of the film. But it often feels so inconsequential. Like I was just like, does this film, for it to really work, does it need like a Point Break / Fast and Furious style kind of like suggestion that he's falling in love with the lifestyle? Because that never happens. Like, there's
No.
this stuff with Nancy, but there's no element of him kind of becoming enamored with the lifestyle. And of course, you kind of can't have that. You've painted yourself into a corner by making him white supremacists. So you can.
But they hint at the beginning. They say, "You're the guy that's brought down so many biker gangs."
Yeah.
So what?
But then you're just
at,
like, oh, should they have been? Because that to me immediately evokes what's it called, the fucking bounce film. Oh my god, with the bounce. The famous bouncer film with Patrick Swayze, Jesus, Roadhouse. Sorry,
Roadhouse
just dropped out of my head.
Yeah, and that's where I think it is basically it. They've hinted that he's taken down so many biker gangs. So but what makes me laugh is again this man mounted seems to keep going undercover, and nobody seems to. And all these biker gangs are getting together to have these rallies and shit.
Yeah, they all cross paths.
Yeah,
just like
nobody's
dude,
gone. Yeah,
dude, is he like 6'3", like huge mullet, ridiculous jacket? Yeah, that motherfucker. Oh, dude, he's definitely a cop. He's 100% a cop. Don't trust that motherfucker. Yeah, they like. In fairness, they don't go to any great lengths to hide the fact that he's a cop. Like Lance showing up in the diner later on, it's just like that feels like an unnecessary risk. And of course, that's the moment he gets caught immediately.
This leads me to one of Liam's famous. I seem to have taken it over lately. 5 things. 5 undercover cops, possibly worse than Joe Huff or John Stone, whatever his name was, right? So I've got 5. I've just said it. So Dan Saxon from Beyond the Law, Charlie Sheen's undercover biker cop, who becomes so immersed in the lifestyle he basically forgets he's on assignment. He grows his hair, he buys the bike, he goes full method. I mean, next to this man, Joe Huff looks restrained. Have you seen?
A long time ago, but again, that's like a different approach. It's that whole thing about like becoming enamored in the lifestyle and getting too involved, whereas he's just like seems pretty passive about it. I was just like, I'm just going to be the boss and I'm just going to let it roll, basically.
Jake Sully from Avatar, a literal undercover cop in an alien body who immediately falls in love, switches sides, betrays his mission, ends up leading a revolution against his own employers. I mean, Joe Huff may be obvious, but at least he doesn't defect to the biker gang and become their king. Again,
I mean, I wasn't expecting that at all, which is surprising considering we were talking about the latest Avatar film just before we start this podcast. But that might actually be the right answer. Like, he's just the worst undercover, considering where he ends up. Definitely the worst.
Yeah. Billy Costigan from The Departed. He's brilliant, but constantly seconds away from a full collapse. He sweats, he panics, he leaves clues, he nearly gets caught every 5 minutes. Even Joe would tell him to take a breath, I think.
Well, funny enough, because when I was thinking, it's like, what would make this movie better? What would it make it work as more of a traditional movie? And obviously, I had the Point Break, Fast and Furious thing. The other note I've got is I would love it if they went all Departed and half the movie is Joe in therapy about how stressful it is going undercover. Because everything he does in this movie looks super stressful. These guys are absolute psychos, and he just brushes it all off. He just, I've done it a million times. I just don't give a fuck. And I'm just like, is there a version of this film which is like The Departed, where he's just like, he acts all cool, and then he goes and sees a psychiatrist. It's like, fuck, man, this is just too much. I'm acting cool, but my ass is sweating. I just can't stop my ass sweating.
Tom Hansen from 21 Jump Street, the 1987 TV show. He's supposed to blend in with high schoolers, but it looks like he's already shopping for conservatories. His covers are flimsy, his acting is shaky, and he blows his identity more than once. He's not a good undercover cop. I mean, I've not seen all of 21 Jump Street.
He's no Jake Sully, but he's not great, that's for sure.
And lastly, I mean, Avatar with cars or Fast and Furious with aliens, whichever one you want to look at it. But Brian O'Connor, undercover cop who falls in love with the criminals, joins their family, and then just stops being a cop. He abandons his mission so hard he becomes Vin Diesel's best man. You know,
But
at least
everyone
Joe
does
finished
that
his
in that film.
assignment.
In fairness, it's like everybody has to be in the family. They just can't help themselves. It's like Jason Statham. He's like, people forget. I think it was like Fast and Furious 6 or 7. He was like the worst guy. Like he opens, like, I'm pretty sure the opening sequence is him like blowing up a hospital. Like 2 minutes later, it's just like, oh, all's forgiven. You're drinking Coronas and it's all family now.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? The Rock? He was another cop. He's basically just one of the guys a movie later.
They lost the license to Coronas, didn't they? I think because by the last one, they were drinking something else. That's what made me laugh.
I wonder if it was just damaging the brand. They're just like, we're turning into a joke here. It's ridiculous. Bizarrely, one of the ones you've missed, I'm not sure if it's a movie you've seen, and it's not very funny. Did you ever see a football hooligan film? I think it's from the 90s called ID.
Yeah, I've seen ID.
Yeah, that's basically the same thing, where he goes undercover with like football hooligans and then just becomes completely immersed in the lifestyle, which, like I said, isn't particularly funny. It's just a movie I remember.
To be fair, it's every undercover story pretty much, isn't
totally.
it? I mean, I could tell you
I tell you what, sorry, now you've made that list and the more we talked about it, the more I think the boss is fucking shit hot at what he does.
Yeah, because he's finished his mission without... He had a start. He didn't falter from his mission. It's not like he fell in love and then somebody talked him out of it and he was able. Even fucking Point Break, Keanu Reeves, like his mission changed. The other one, Omar Epps was in.
Like at the end, he lets he knew what was going to happen, but he let Patrick Swayze go out and get that last surf.
Yeah,
what am I going to do, man? Surf to New Zealand? Just whatever the fuck it was.
Maybe Omar Epps in Deep Cover. He did fall in love with a woman, but she wasn't part of the undercover mission. And he was able to take down LL Cool J. So,
what I like about this film, and I gotta be honest, they both came back to back, and I didn't see them coming. One was the Return of Bolivian. I just genuinely, when he came back, I was like, oh fuck yeah, I forgot about him. Turncoat, can't believe he came back. And I do think it should actually happen in more movies. He just fucking flat out murders Nancy. Like they're building it up, like, oh, they're gonna have this fucking like relationship, and that's gonna be the end of the film, him escaping with Nancy. When he shot Nancy, I audibly gasped. I was like, holy shit, he fucking killed Nancy? And like that was it. More movies, especially if you're going like 80s big action movies, that's what they should have. Because you don't want him to be stuck with a love interest in the film. You want him to like have this hint of a relationship. But yeah, of course, if you fuck with the boss, your chances are you're gonna get shot in the face. So, but yeah, that came as a massive shock to me. Because usually they run that right through to the end of the film. Like Nancy's walking away from him from the courthouse at the end, saying, no, Nancy gets smoked.
She jumps in front of a bullet to save him or something, but no,
something like that. No, she just gets unceremoniously capped right in front of him.
Well, this should be a Rob take, but I've got enough Rob takes for this film, so I'm just going to say it anyway.
There's plenty to be had with this film.
When they have the Viking funeral for Ice,
totally gangster, by the way. Didn't see that coming
absolutely. Yeah, I mean they've strapped him up to the bike. They put a cigarette in his mouth, which he's managed to keep. But my question is, why was he released back to the biker gang? Or did they steal him from the morgue?
I got to assume.
And for a guy that had a crash where he should have road rash all through his face, he was pristine. He looked good.
They tidied him up quite a bit, so I'm not sure if they had their own doctor or whatever. But I mean, this gang seems pretty well put together. And I mean, let's be clear. If you consider the crimes that they're pulling off, they should have all been arrested ages ago. But I love the fact, because let's be clear, we've kind of like tiptoed around things because this movie's a bit of a mess. It's fun, but it's a bit of a mess. Is that the fundamental story, once you kind of strip away the relationship between the boss and Lance, which again, these are all things I think there should have been. Like you should have picked a few of these and put more of an emphasis on it. So everything feels like half baked. So you've got like Sam McMurray as Lance, who's actually really good in this, and I actually think he and the boss have genuine chemistry. You don't see enough of it. You could lean into the whole Stone and Chains thing. They kind of hint at their relationship, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Stone and Nancy, okay, fair play, she gets killed. The gang and the mafia, it's like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, in fairness, like to have that one sequence where they're around the dinner table and he shows up with a biker's helmet and it's got the dude's head in it. I was like, that's actually pretty hardcore. And I'm not sure if you noticed in that sequence, but like one of like the heavies behind them is he literally has no neck. If you go back and watch this film, there's a dude standing in the background and it's like, dude has no fucking neck. So you've got.
How do you know he's an Italian mobster, by the way? Ponytail,
of course. It's always the giveaway in these night films. But the core. What's really driving the story, supposedly, and it's because it kind of drops in and out as you go, is the whole Trouble and Governor Whip thing. And I love the fact that all of these bikers are so perplexed that their buddy Trouble, and he gets introduced in core as Trouble. That's his Christian name, apparently.
Yeah.
He shoots a priest while he's reading nuptials with a shotgun at point blank range, and then like he got 45 years. This is a fucking outrage. Like, what did you fucking think was going to happen, guys?
And that's the thing. Like, was he sent to shoot the priest? And that's not the only priest. Apparently, he's not in there for doing that. He's in there, or maybe it's the part of the Brotherhood. But four clergymen were taken out.
Yeah. Which is like,
Yeah.
imagine the press, not even in America, globally, if a biker gang just went around just shooting and not just killing them in the middle of like weddings and stuff. Like
he's a member of the Brotherhood. There's no way that chapter is like they would be. They would not be arrested, but they would be like just monitored constantly.
They wouldn't be sending in the buzz, they'd be sending the fucking army. It's ludicrous. But that's the thing, you get this moment where you're like, God, that's gone like really dark. And in the same, like it's more knowing than say Cobra. So Cobra, you have some really dark stuff, and then you suddenly, if you're not aware of it, please go and watch the sequence of Sylvester Stallone eating pizza in Cobra.
Oh, it's fucking hell.
Unintentionally wonderful. Now this film is a lot more self-aware, but basically you're going from priest being shot to the boss having the most bizarre, I'm going to call it a protein shake. It's a stretch. What the fuck is he putting it? Like he puts 2 Snickers bars, 2 eggs, some other bullshit. Then he's got his pet iguana who he's giving eggs to, as you mentioned earlier. It's right. One, it's insane. But 2, what I do appreciate is the fact that it's included. Because say if you take a movie like Jingle All the Way, for instance.
Yeah.
Right, Jingle All the Way, Arnold Schwarzenegger's got this high pressure job where he hasn't got time for his kids and all this other nonsense, and yet he's still built like an Olympian. And you're just like, where's the sequence where he has to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to eat steak and eggs, to work out for 2 hours, and then just rinse protein shakes? Most of these films, you get these guys, they're massive, and they're never doing that. In this film, at least they're like, he's gonna have to protein load, he's gonna have to carb load before he goes out. I mean, look at the size of him, he needs this.
No. I think you've missed the point. That's the fake out. He does all that, and you're watching it put all this shit in the blender, and you're going, "Ooh, how's he gonna eat that?"
But he gives it to the actual.
That was never for him. He was making Fido's breakfast or soups on my man, as he said. And you never actually answered my question at the beginning, so I'll ask it again.
Yeah,
I argue if you're putting the eggshell in, why crack it first?
Yeah. I guess maybe it makes it a little bit easier for him to eat. Why? I don't know how.
It doesn't make it easier for him to eat because he's blended it. It won't make it easier for him to eat. He's blended it. Why crack the egg?
Well, It is. It's for your point specifically because, like, I was an idiot and I wasn't paying attention. I was just caught up in what was going in there. Yeah. It's because they want to sell you on the idea that he's going to drink.
Yeah,
that's the correct answer.
But I still argue why crack the egg.
Of course, you are correct. I mean, the real answer is, and I love the fact that he's basically any movie in the early 90s where someone's trying to be remotely sexy, they're wearing a kimono. This is the second movie in 2 weeks where you've had somebody dressed in a kimono to try and be sexy. Last week is Patricia Arquette, dare I say, a lot sexier. This week, we get the boss in a kimono. The one thing that, however, is absolutely fucking unforgivable is his underwear. What the fuck are going on with his? They've got like a clip on the side or something. I was just like, dude, definitely brought those from home. I don't know. There was something about them. They just upset me. I mean, men in briefs in general, it's just like a bad look, I think. But with that little clip thing on the side, I bet you they're like fucking Gucci or something. Absolute horror show. Absolute.
What did this film love? Of everything else, what did this film love? What did they love bringing into this film?
Other than white supremacists and bikes, I'm not sure.
Tits?
Oh, of course. Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. And how many? I'm guessing that Lance Henriksen and his crew fucked up their take so many times. And the poor woman is like, oh, I got to do this again. My tits hanging out. Jesus Christ.
Well, at the start, I was like, despite this being a 1991 film, as we mentioned earlier, a lot of it feels like it was stuck in the last decade. None more so than just like an unnecessary topless scene, like right at the start. They go to a bar. It's basically a kind of biker strip club. There's just tits everywhere. And you're just like, well, that's just what they do. Then there's just a random game of pool with tits. You're like, well, they're really pushing the boat on this one. You don't get much in the way of topless pool nowadays.
You go to the Brotherhood party halfway through the film. Tits. But Lance meets goes to pick up John Stone at the beginning. Joe Huff, whichever name you want to use for him, goes to pick him up at the beginning, and then it's the random English woman in the bed. Tits.
She is smoking though.
Oh, she is smoking. And, oh my fucking God! Talk about like just something that's like a MacGuffin kind of thing. He's like, oh, hey, baby, it's your time. Like, there's no explanation of who she is. It's just, oh no, the boss
Doesn't
fucks.
matter.
We want to
Yeah,
prove
that's
that
all
the
it is.
boss fucks.
The Boz is a fuckboy. That's
Yeah.
all it's proving. And it just wants you to show how like uncomfortable Lance is. And the movie could have done more with that. As I said, I genuinely think every time they're on screen together, it kind of works.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
screen,
Lance.
and when I say Lance, we're talking about the character Lance, not Lance. Although, again, the stuff with Lance Henriksen and the Boz, I was like, that kind of works as well. He's not bad in this film. I
I got
genuinely think
so
he's perfectly decent.
I got so into Lance Henriksen's Chains character that
Mm-hmm.
when he shaved and became the Lance Henriksen we all know,
How crazy was it? The
yeah,
transformation.
yeah,
Like honestly, you're just like that was one of the best. Like he's dressed as a priest, and you're saying like the dude looks like a fucking priest. I would have let him in, and I've seen this movie. And one other thing which I wasn't expecting, when Lance Henriksen takes off his top, motherfucker is yoked.
yeah, yeah.
He's fucking cut in this film. I was like, but yeah, like 2 minutes later, he looks like Lance Henriksen from Aliens, and he's pretending to be a priest. It's one of the best get-ups I've ever seen in my life. It's unbelievable.
With all this,
To the point where when he's sitting in a busy courtroom with just a casual Uzi on his lap, I'm just like, yeah, I better slide. He's a priest.
and
Priests can have Uzis.
with all the security, who's managing to put an Uzi under a chair for him?
I have.
And
No
can you
idea.
imagine if he rocked up and some random, like even the Governor Whip, some random was sat in his chair? Sorry, you're in my chair. Well, no. There's no assigned seating, mate. No. I have to have that chair because there's an Uzi in the chair.
You'd move for a priest, though. That's the thing. You would move for a priest.
Yeah, I suppose.
You probably would. But yeah,
Why?
this one's like
A priest to me is a normal person.
Yeah, but I feel like if a priest came over, you don't want to be the guy who's like arguing with a fucking priest, especially in court. It's just not a good look, I don't think. But yeah, plenty of surprise. One of the biggest surprises, and I was convinced I was wrong when they went into the trials. And when I say go into the trials, you just get dropped into the trials. You're like, are these trials? Why are they fighting? I know what's going on. I'm going to assume it's trials. There was a Sheryl Crow song playing called Welcome to the Real Life. And I was just like, well, this can't be Sheryl Crow because Sheryl Crow, I just think of her as her first album was Tuesday Night Music Club, the big famous one. That was released in like 93, 94. This was like 2 years earlier. So was she basically like a no-name singer who they just kind of like dragged in to make a song? But then if you look at it, the soundtrack's pretty good for this film. So she must have been a known quantity by 1991. But it's just weird because the first album wasn't until 93, 94. It's just a bit of an odd one.
Wasn't her song as well performed? I thought it was her song. Performed when he was making the weird protein shake thing. I thought that was her song.
Yeah, maybe it was then. Maybe I mixed it up. I've just got like I was just surprised because I heard it and I'm a big fan of Sheryl Crow and I was just like, oh, that sounds like Sheryl Crow. I was like, it's 91. It can't be Sheryl Crow. No, it is Sheryl Crow.
The courthouse, right? Let's fuck it. Let's get to the end for a second. Let's talk.
We're gonna skip all the Italian bullshit. We know it's wank. We're gonna get straight down to when this movie goes genuinely fucking batshit. Let's do it.
It goes full on again. Die Hard. Like, but
wait, I've got to ask just before we get there because this is just in case the show doesn't show up on Rob Takes. So one of the oddest sequences I find is when they just suddenly decided to turn on the military because these guys are legit. They're now fighting the fucking military.
Yeah.
They box up two soldiers and then they shoot them when they're in the boxes. Like it just have you ever seen
it's fine.
Have you seen
it's fine. It's the National Guard. It's the National Guard. It doesn't count.
It doesn't. But it was just the audio. It just seems so bizarre.
Yeah.
It reminded me of just funny enough because I was watching it a few days ago. You've seen The Dark Knight Rises, yeah?
I have, yeah.
You know the scene, like the opening sequence with Bane. It's like perhaps he's wondering why someone would shoot a man before throwing them off a plane. It's like the same thing. Like I'm wondering why you would box them up and then shoot them. It doesn't make a lick of fucking sense.
If anything, it creates unnecessary splinters for when you're carrying it.
Maybe there's like a cutscene where it's just showing chains like going off the deep end. Like, you know, he has a certain plan and then all of a sudden he wants to, as a bravado movie, decides I'm just going to fucking shoot everyone and go crazy. But instead it just seems all backwards. But anyway, let's get to
the fact that Che Guevara's has a friend in a military complex that can just lend him a helicopter for an hour, but he has to get it back. Like, you've got to return this helicopter. You're going to use this helicopter that's going to be shown on national TV because it's flying over a courthouse.
Yeah.
But it'll be fine if we return it.
Well, I don't even know what their plan. Like, this is one of my. And
that
again,
was,
if we're talking
that was
about
their escape plan. That was
okay. Fair enough. This is their escape plan. My big issue with these kind of films, and we get it so often, is just like, dude, why don't you just shoot him? They have the opportunity. They capture the boss And you're just like, dude, just shoot
Yeah.
him. No, we're gonna like fucking Dr. Evil is shit, and we're gonna tie him to the helicopter and a bomb. No fucking need for it. All right, I'll let that one slide. Then you get into the courthouse. Twice he gets the drop on the balls and literally has the opportunity to just fucking shoot him. He doesn't shoot him. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Your thing as well about Schwarzenegger, right?
Mhm,
Like we need to see when he's eating steak and eggs because he's fucking yoked.
mhm.
We know the Boz is yoked because I don't think he wears a shirt for more than 30 seconds in this film. At the end, they've even opened this shirt to show him after
What?
they've crucified him, right? But guy that
So
a,
dumb.
a guy that built, and you basically tied him or handcuffed him to wires and
Yeah.
hoses, and you're thinking, oh, we're going to be safe up here. It'll be absolutely fine. The other thing about the helicopter, before we even get into the courthouse, was that's hovering quite low.
Mhm.
Why aren't the army just shooting it down? Just a couple of pop shots and it'll land or it'll do something. It's
Maybe
fine.
because it looks military, they just kind of assume that it's just like, well, that
Well,
must be one of
what about
ours.
the guy that doesn't look military who jumped out of it into the
Yeah.
building?
Well, there's a lot of weird stuff. There's,
Yeah,
like you say,
and then
I mean, that one dude who jumps through the glass, it's the most bizarre jump through glass I've ever seen in my
yeah,
life. The guy's in the white suit.
yeah,
It's like he falls through it, slash jumps through it. It's very strange.
and the Die Hard 4 problem of
Mm-hmm.
killing a helicopter with a car
Mm-hmm.
when he hit a toll booth, but that was a ramp. Same thing
Mm-hmm.
with this. He managed to send the bike. He shot the I was going to say the driver. He shot the rider off the bike.
Mm-hmm.
Logic would dictate the bike kind of swerves and falls. No, no, no. This bike kept a straight line, revved up, and went
Yeah.
straight out of the window and
Wow.
blew up the helicopter.
That's really the scene where this film like jumps the shark. So it's at this point it's just gone back to full 80s. So you even have Bosworth do like an awesome like one-handed like reload of his shotgun, like, oh, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
And then you have a sequence where they're both standing in the hallway, and again, Lance Henriksen has just got an open shot him. He's got an Uzi. He's got a shotgun, but he's a fair bit away from him. That's going to have like a spray effect. If he just opens up with that Uzi, he's dead. But he's like, no, what I'm going to do is get this biker to finish you. So the biker is, I would say, at a stretch 20 foot away from him, and he's
Yeah.
holding a shotgun, and he says, ride straight at him. And the guy's like, no problem, boss. What did they think was going to happen? In fairness, when the bike goes out the window, fucking True Lies style, and takes out the helicopter, it's kind of cool. But fundamentally, everything about it is thick as shit.
Yeah.
I mean, I love what happens, but my God, you could have done a better job of setting that up rather than go to your death, sir. And yeah, he does it because he's a loyal foot soldier, but all very silly.
Yeah. I still don't that surely there was an easier way to
Mhm.
kill the whip.
I mean, in
It has
fairness,
to have
that
been
did come. Yeah, there has to be like, you go to their houses, you do the classic Corleone style, car bombs, all that stuff. Instead of him going and dressed like a priest. In fairness, he kills fucking everyone. When he just opens up with a machine gun, I was like, God damn, he's just killed all the judges and he's smoked Whip, who we don't really give a shit about at this point in the film, but
Yeah.
sure.
They blew up the judge on his boat. They put a bomb on his pull cord or ripcord outboard motor.
Yeah,
Right?
classic Godfather fare. That's how you do
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. But you can't get hold of the whip, so you've got to do it like but there's got to be an easier way to kill the whip
Of
and
course
to
there is.
rescue Trouble.
What do they think
Trouble's got to be
tomorrow's going to be?
transferred somewhere.
Remember what we were talking about earlier with the whole like, oh, if you killed these people, if you went on just shooting priests, like the whole country would have like an eyeball on your group. You'd have to completely dissolve. So imagine that, but then you times it by 1,000 because you go into Mississippi City Hall, one of all those cameras, and you fucking mow down like 12 judges and the fucking governor. And even if you get away, everyone's just going to be like, yeah, we'll get away because I'm dressed like a priest now. It's like, dude, like you're going to be arrested and blown up tomorrow. It's like, what the fuck? It's so silly. It's genuinely ludicrous, but it is kind of fun.
Exactly. We're picking holes, but it is fun. I mean, it's even, and I'm jumping here again, how he infiltrates himself into the gang. He rocks up, he starts a bar fight to just piss ice off, and then he travels along. He goes to their meet the next day because what was it? Gator, Gut, whatever his name was,
I
invites
thought
him.
it was Gut. Oh,
I
and
think
by
it
the
is
way,
Gut. Yeah,
we got to talk about Gut in a minute, but yeah, go for it.
yeah. So Gut invites him to the rally. Fine. He
Mhm.
shows up to the rally. He races Ice, beats Ice. Fine. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, by the way, get out of my van. I'll leave my wife or my missus in here to fuck you. No, no, no. I don't want any of this shit. She can get out as well.
Mhm.
By the way, let's do some deal on military or cop equipment. And I've got a truckload of liquid drugs to sell you. Yeah, all fine, all good.
There's so much going on, and just because you brought up Gut there, fucking hell, he did Gut dirty in this film. Like Gut was the
Ah,
one dude who was like genuinely nice to him. He was clearly the guy who spoke up, like halfway through the film, like, "Oh, dude, we're losing our way as a group. We shouldn't, all this violence and killing. That's not what this like biker gang's really about." And then you get Bosworth, who basically, like in Call of Duty parlance, baits the fucking other dude by like getting Gut's attention. Gut
yeah.
gets fucking smoked unceremoniously. He doesn't give a fuck about Gut. I was like, God damn, man, that is cold blooded.
He took them all out.
He did. I just thought like in that moment when he came around the corner, he was going to give him that nod, like Guts, get the fuck out of here because it's about to go off. Instead, he just used Gut to basically smoke the other guy while getting Gut killed. It was
I
very
mean,
dark.
the only one who managed to find some sort of happy ending was Tool because he got
Yeah,
blown up a little bit earlier. So he's off now with the forced marriage that was forced upon him and his missus.
yeah, his face is all fucked up, but he's got a
Yeah.
lifetime's worth of stories. He's totally got away with it. So yeah, you wouldn't think about when Tool got blown up by the Italian mafia. This is all in the same film, by the way. I totally forgot about the drugs. This film is bananas. There are at least too many plot devices going on in this film. It's very
Yeah.
strange, especially considering it's like 91 minutes long.
It moves at a quip. I'll give you that. It's just
Oh,
it's
it
like
moves at a hell of a pace, and like if there's a reason this podcast sounds quite scattershot, it's because that's what the film is. It is very scattershot, and like you said, it's very easy to pick holes in it. But I would like to reiterate, kind of fun, like a watchable and well-made film. Like I was, like you said earlier, I was expecting the problems to be, oh, it's going to be shoddily made, poorly acted. No, no, none of that. That isn't the problem. It's just it needed another kind of go, like the writer, like basically the script just needed another, pair of eyes on it. I think.
yeah, it needed somebody else to go, yeah, okay, maybe we take out the drugs thing, or maybe I don't know, make Joe Huff easy and not easier because it was very easy for him to infiltrate the gang.
Mhm.
Make him not trust him a little bit more, and then I don't know, there
Yeah,
was
well, like I said, like
something that was
the
missing.
mafia stuff had to go. They had to keep the like either make it about like at the start. I thought the FBI guys were going to be like a nothing. Because if like 80s and early 90s cinema has taught us anything, is that generally speaking, the FBI are the bad guys. This goes
Yeah,
back to Die Hard, where it's like the FBI show up, being like, oh, the fucking FBI here. This is going to be a shit show. And I thought that was going to be the case, but then suddenly you're like, oh no, Lance is kind of cool, and they've got like this good chemistry. But he kind of pops in 2 or 3 times in the film, and it's so brief and never really gets a chance to get going. They hint at all these relationships, but none of them go anywhere because they've got too much going on. They just needed to streamline it all a little bit. But like I said, it is what it is.
when I was a kid, right? Sorry, when
No,
I
go
was a
for it.
kid, you said about FBI. I asked my dad what FBI meant while we were watching a film. I can't even remember the film, right?
Mhm.
And without missing a beat, my dad said, fucking British idiots.
Brilliant.
Yeah. So for the next couple of years after that, before I realized what it was, I just thought
Mhm.
FBI was fucking British idiots.
Well, this was like the thing about growing up in like the 80s and 90s is that if somebody told you something with confidence,
Yeah.
you just basically took that as golden for
Yeah.
the next 20, 30 years.
Telling,
And even beyond Google, because like it wasn't like you were suddenly Googling things, you were just like, oh, you just took it as fact. It was just
yeah.
established in your brain as fact. If your old man told you something with a straight face, just like, that's the truth. And I
Yeah.
will ride with that forever. Not only that, I will take this false information and I will pass it on to others who
That's
also
what I
will
said.
question me.
I went into the schoolyard. Fuck you. Oh
Of
yeah,
course.
FBI means fucking British idiots. Like just carried on with it.
And then was just like, well, that seems like a weird name, but he's saying it with confidence, and it sounds like he heard it from a grown up. So I guess that's much what
Yeah.
maybe it goes back to like the kind of war for independence. I don't know. It's strange, but Rob said it with a straight
Yeah.
face, so I'm
Yeah.
going to take it as golden. Very strange. Do you want to move on to Rob? Well, Rob's take. You mentioned a whole bunch of them. Do you have
I've
another
got
one?
right. I'm going to narrow it down to two. Okay, so
Cool.
just give you two because I've already mentioned a couple. The first one, and these these are really like innocuous, like very innocuous. The first one, Joe Huff says, "I overheard one of the guys saying we're going to crack the whip." He didn't overhear one of the guys saying crack the whip. They said it directly to him. Like Che Guevara said whilst they were all
Mhm.
meeting together, we're going to crack the whip. Like it's not hard to crack that code.
Yeah, that is a really good Rob take. In
Yeah.
fairness, I probably wouldn't know. Most people wouldn't notice that, but now you mention it, it's like, yeah, it's an oversight for sure.
And the other one, when he first meets Chains, and Chains says, "Oh, which club are you with?" And he says, "I'm not. I'm independent."
Mhm.
This is a guy who has taken down a lot of biker gangs. He's already said to the FBI to prove that he knows about biker gangs what a prospect is. Okay, I'm not going to
Mhm.
prospect. I'm not going to be this guy. But he wouldn't be independent. He'd be a nomad.
Yeah,
And it
yeah.
really upset me. And I could be wrong as well because my knowledge of this is 7 years of Sons of Anarchy. Okay.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty
Yeah.
solid. Seven
Yeah.
years. That's a lot of biker gangs.
You would be a nomad. If you weren't affiliated with the
Mhm,
club,
mhm.
you would be
Yeah.
a nomad.
See, this is one of those things now, right? I would never Google that. You've told me that. I'm taking that as golden now. If someone brings
Yeah.
this up in the future, I'll be like, oh no, I'm pretty sure that's a nomad. You might be making this up. I will never double check your information there. I'm just going to be like, yeah, I've never
Yeah.
watched an episode of that show. So I'm just like, yeah. So of course they'd be a nomad. So I'm totally going to believe
Oh,
you on that one.
you take it as gospel. Take it as
I
truth. It's fine.
absolutely will
Yeah.
take it as gospel. This is kind of a sneaky one, actually, because I haven't mentioned this additional kind of category. But one of the ones I was thinking about adding was who would you want to have a beer with? And I say that because fundamentally it's become my kind of like fallback. Like, if you're watching a movie or like, say it's like a sport, Bethan's like, oh,
Yeah.
like I like that player or you like the manager. I always fall back on, I'm not sure about that, cunt. I'm not sure, do I want to go with a beer with that guy?
Right.
And that's almost like
Be
my fundamental kind of base level of whether I think someone's cool or not. I'm like, do I want to go for a beer with him?
be careful with this section,
Mhm.
okay? Because if you say you want to have a beer with a white supremacist,
That's tricky. Well, that was
yeah,
the thing. This one I was right. This one I was going to be very specific and say, would you want to go for a beer with the boss? Because at the start of the film, based on my own like preconceptions, if you said, "Do I want to go for a beer with the boss?" I'd be like, "Absolutely not." He sounds like he's totally full of shit. And, I'm talking about his character in this film. I thought he was just going
yeah.
to be this. You see him with the kimono and the ridiculous underwear, and like, oh, this guy's going to be a piece of work. But then you see his interactions with Lance and everything else, and I'm saying like, I don't know, the boss might be a decent hangman. He might be okay. So by the end of the film, I'm going to go on record and say, yeah, I wouldn't mind going for a beer with the boss. I think he might be cool.
I mean, yeah. If we're gonna go like his interactions with Lance and his caringness, you can see it when he's talking to Nancy and things like that.
Hmm.
He'd be all right. He'd be all right as a boss. If we're talking about Boz at the beginning that just shows he wants to fuck and feed his Komodo dragon, things that
That's
you
what I
shouldn't
mean.
be feeding a Komodo
Yeah,
dragon, by the
yeah,
way.
yeah.
Uh,
He
then
was ticking all the
yeah,
boxes at the start for me to be like, that is not someone I want to go for a beer with. You just like, I mean, if don't get me wrong, he's maybe the kind of guy you want on a stag do because you always need the wild card. It's like,
yeah,
if you go on a stag do, what it usually is it'll be 2 nights. The first night takes care of itself, yeah. The second night, everyone's still a little bit hungover, and what you need is that one fucking lunatic who's gonna drag everyone through that third beer when everyone's
yeah.
still fucking toiling, who goes up and buys like 17 shots and fucking drags you into a strip club and you're like, how the fuck? And the next thing you know, the second night's fucking awesome. And you need the psycho there for that. But you
What do you
never
mean?
want to be stuck with just the psycho. You never want it to just be you and that dude because you're just like, he's too fucking much. Not bad
You've
in a group. He serves a purpose, but not just the two of you.
you've just described Dave. You've
Yeah,
literally
fair enough.
described
Yeah,
Dave.
yeah. Yeah, you need that guy who's just gonna like force everybody to go that extra mile, like on the
Yeah,
second night. You just need that one crazy guy. And I thought that's who the boss was going to be. But then halfway through, I was just like, I know it might be okay. Just like I said, when I'm talking about having a beer, I'm not talking about fucking railing fucking lines and doing like 17 pints. I'm just talking about going to the pub and just having a couple of beers and watching the football. I'm just like, the boss might be cool. The boss
yeah.
might be cool. So I'm sticking with it.
Uh,
Anyway, that takes us to a more traditional. Sorry.
Sorry, before you move on, I just
Mhm.
had a question because you mentioned about railing lines and stuff, and I should have brought it up when we were talking about the body of the film. How do you take that drug?
I have no idea. I know nothing. I've watched this whole movie. I have no idea what that drug is, what it does. I just no clue.
Because I would have thought like I could have sworn they were trying to say it was PCP, but they never called it PCP. They called it something else, and I can't remember
Dude,
what they called
the
it.
drugs could just go. It was kind of again like Rollerboys last week. I know there was like a hint towards it being large part of a larger operation stuff. The whole part of the narrative was just like, oh, I could just take it or leave it. I don't really know what these drugs do or what the fuck's going on. This movie is to an even greater extent. It's just, it was there in the original script. It somehow got through the edit. It should have been abandoned, the whole drug thing, the Italian thing, that should have all fucking gone. And I just couldn't give a toss. And I don't even think they made it clear.
Your quote last week as well, the way you did it as well, it's like, I hate liars or I hate deceptive, whatever he says. And
Yeah.
Corey Haim says, sounds good to me. What's the day of the rope? I have answered Pat, my wife, now, anytime she
Mhm.
says to me, oh, shall I go and pick up Riley? Shall I do this? Shall I do that? Sounds good to me. What's the day of the rope? And she's looking at me like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you're just a
Yeah.
fucking psycho. But
Yeah.
there's a hit about that, like, it's not as clear as in Prayer of the Rollerboys. Like, this is going to be especially weird for people who didn't listen to last week's episode. I has no idea who Prayer of the Rollerboys is, but he's so clearly not on their side. This film, like you said, has a hint of that, where you're just like, and Ice is adamant. Ice is the only one who straight away just like, that dude's a fucking narc. We should not
Yeah.
trust him. Everyone else is just like, but have you seen his hair? He's kind of cool, right? Should we just keep him around? He's clearly an undercover cop. But yeah, nobody's having it. Nobody's having it. But
No, not
it's
at all.
ridiculous if the film started and everyone's just like, dude, you're definitely a narc.
Yeah.
Credits 20 minutes. But hey ho. That takes us to favorite scene, one of our more traditional categories.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just say the whole showdown at the Mississippi courthouse, which actually isn't even in Mississippi. It's actually in the Arkansas state capitol because they couldn't get the rights to go into the building and all these other things. So they just like, we'll just film in Arkansas and just say it's Mississippi. But I actually think it's Ice and Stone and their bike chase. I mentioned it earlier with the crash and everything. I just think that whole sequence is like a genuinely good action sequence. So I'll go with that.
This is probably like the third or fourth time where you've gone, I could say this scene, but I'm going to say this scene. And then
Sorry.
I come along and go, well, it is the courthouse assault, isn't it? I mean,
It probably is. My bad.
the Brotherhood storms the courthouse with motorbike shotguns and enough explosions to bankrupt the small studio. It's chaotic. It's over the top. It feels like someone dared the director to make Die Hard, but with more leather and fewer laws. Like but it's a it fundamentally has problems like this film all does, but it's still fun. It is still a.
Well, it's
so I like
weird
the
because it
scene.
goes full 80s in that sequence. You fundamentally are more forgiving of the stuff that doesn't make sense because you're like, oh, it's just a big dumb 80s action movie. But the rest of the film isn't really that. So yeah, bit of a weird mix.
Yeah.
Oscar season. So this is where we hand out 3 Oscars and 3 Razzies in categories of our choosing. Do you mind if I go first?
Feel free, mate. Feel free. I was just about to drink.
Firstly, the Oscar for costume design goes to Stone Cold and its utterly unique array of jackets in particular. You could talk about the whole getup, but his collection of jackets never failed to impress. And I just don't think there's any other movie or any other person who wears these jackets. You might get like one randomly in a movie, but to have like 6, absolutely insane. 2, the Oscar for most homoerotic line delivered with a straight face goes to the soldier who delivered this absolute banger. Sorry, sir, I'm going to have to inspect your load. I was like, come on. He must have known. He must have known. That's so gay. So gay. But it's not played for laughs. It's just played as just a straight line.
That's why they shot him through the
maybe so. Maybe so. And 3, the Oscar for most unique mullet invariably goes to the Boz. If you were going to steal that one, you could make an argument for the unexpected death Oscar goes to Nancy for getting shot in the head. But I am going to stick with the Boz and his magnificent mullet.
For me, best use of a mullet in an action role, winner Brian Bosworth. The hair does half the acting and all the heavy lifting.
Such a fantastic mullet.
The Oscar for most unnecessarily explosive motorcycle stunt goes to the courthouse bike launch. I mean, physics left the building a long time ago, along with the bike.
Absolutely.
And number 3, the winner for best villain who looks like he hasn't slept since 1983 goes to Lance Henriksen as Chains. He's terrifying, he's magnetic, and he's probably flammable.
Yeah, well, we haven't really spoken much about him because there's so much going on in this film. He's genuinely good. He's genuinely good as Chains.
He's having some fun. I mean, breaking into trivia a little bit. I think one of the trivia does say, because I haven't got it up yet, but what about the fact that all his lines are his own? Like Lance Henriksen just said just made up his own lines on the spot. Like, because he was having too much fun.
Supposedly, it was like in the script, it was all like Bible verses. Like he spoke almost exclusively in Bible verses, and he's just like, "Nah, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to give my own lines in." Yeah, he's really good. But Lance Henriksen's always really good. But yeah,
they gave the Bible verses to the whip. They gave all the Bible verses to the whip.
Of course.
Yeah,
Again, such an underdeveloped character who supposedly plays a large part in this film, but he literally any interaction with anyone, he's just a character on a TV screen a couple of times. Ludicrous.
yeah.
The Razzie for poor organization goes to Chains and the Brotherhood for boxing up soldiers and then shooting them for reasons I mentioned earlier. Two, the Razzie for worst underwear on a man goes to the Boz. Again, already mentioned that. And three, the Razzie for most overarmed and underprepared gang goes to those guys in the convenience store at the start. It's such a weird opening to this film.
Yeah.
They're just the worst gang members ever, but good fun.
For me, Razzies, the first one, worst protein shake in cinema, even for a
Oh,
Komodo dragon,
terrible
goes
oversight on my
to
part.
Joe Huff's breakfast blend. Whatever that concoction was, it looked like something he whipped up specifically for a Komodo dragon. Even the dragon would have passed at that. He did, though. He didn't eat it at all. So
I mean, I was wondering if it would have tasted okay. So it was banana, Snickers, egg, orange juice. Blend all that up. I suspect it would have been perfectly
there was some other
drinkable.
crap in there as well. Like
There was some other crap in
squeezy
there,
stuff.
but
Yeah.
I'm not sure
Uh,
about the health benefits, but I bet you it would be probably drinkable.
uh, the Razzie for worst biker gang in cinema history, winner The Brotherhood. For a group that talks a big game about chaos and domination, they spend most of the film getting outsmarted by a man whose hair is its own gravitational field. I mean, they're not intimidating in the slightest.
Well, Chains he's got like a certain glare to him, but as a group, they're very hit and miss. That's for damn sure.
As a group, you just want to watch them. Just
Yeah, well,
want to watch.
that's one of the things as you get older. It's like, when you're younger and you get these people are like, oh, punk is cool. But then I'm just like, especially like, kind of core traditional punk. I just see them. I'm just like, oh, they all look like they need a wash. I could just never live in that kind of filth. Even if I like the music, I could never condone the lifestyle. No lifestyle where washing isn't. I shower like twice a day, dude. I'm a fucking psycho. So yeah, I couldn't deal with it.
And number three, the Razzie for the most insane wardrobe department in cinema. Stone Cold's costume team, or more accurately, whoever let Brian Bosworth raid his own closet and call it wardrobe.
See, this is another one of those. Oh, sorry, go for it.
Every outfit looks like it was chosen during a dare, a fever dream, or both. I mean, sleeveless leather, mesh tops, denim vests, and a mullet with his own gravity. Fucking hell, I said that again. It's chaos, but it's unforgettable. His wardrobe is unforgettable.
It is absolutely unforgettable. Look, and it's interesting. We've had this a few times where basically you're fundamentally picking the same thing as me, but you're picking it as a Razzie and I'm picking it as an Oscar.
Yeah.
And I think it's genuine, it's changeable, whichever way you want to look at it. On one level, it's absolutely fantastic, but it's also fundamentally terrible. Make no mistake. Like so much is film. It's fun, but also kind of bad. It's a weird mix. Any alternative titles for this film? Anything more fun? Is there like what was the other? It wasn't Old Dirty Bastard, was it? That other film you said had an alternative title.
One Tough Bastard.
One Tough Bastard. Yeah, sorry.
We do, and I'm going to keep Poland's till last because actually, Poland. Actually, a few of these are getting it wrong. Anyway, Argentina in Cold Blood. Brazil.
These all sound like Steven Seagal films.
Yeah. Brazil, The Fury of the Punisher.
It's a bit long-winded.
Bulgaria, Cold-Blooded Stone.
No.
Canada, Hard as a Stone. I mean, I think they watched the porno version.
Yeah. I don't think they thought that went through.
What do we got? Germany, Stone Cold, Cold as Stone.
It's so dumb.
Italy, Impact Force.
No, sounds like a Jean-Claude film.
Portugal, Cold as Steel.
No.
Turkey, Death Weapon.
Again, I don't know why that sounds a little gay. It just does.
Right. I was going to leave Poland to last, but I'm leaving Ukraine now to last. So Poland was Cold as a Boulder.
Cold as a boulder.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. That doesn't sound like a kind of Norwegian family drama.
But Ukraine, fantastic. Unflappable.
Unflappable. I guess he is unflappable, I suppose. Like that's the whole thing. He doesn't, you can go undercover. He is unflappable. It's definitely not what called the movie.
You cannot flap him. No.
Funny enough, I'm going to stick with the original title, and we're going to stick with Stone Cold. Hope to the Future. So this is where we ask a question. Remake? No, I've missed one. It's facts, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad. He waved at me.
Right.
Realized I just skipped it. So yes, facts. So go for it.
Well, there you go. There's my first one. Lance Henriksen wrote his own lines for every scene. The role of Joe Huff was originally offered to Schwarzenegger, but the studio couldn't afford to pay his $20 million fee.
Yeah, just double the cost immediately.
The film suffered cuts to gain an R rating in the US after the MPAA rated the first cut NC-17.
Supposedly, nobody can find proof of this original cut,
Yeah.
which is a bit of a shame.
Brian Bosworth has said in an interview that as a keen biker, he had previously built the bike that his character rides in the film and suggested that it be used instead since he was more comfortable with it.
Fair enough. He's just brought everything from basically he's just shown up on set. It's just like I'm not getting changed. I'm not changing my bike. Let's just roll with it.
Yeah. Writer Walter Doniger came under fire from some critics for his profane and violent screenplay, a rather startling change from a man who spent the 40s and 50s writing light romantic comedies. I mean, that was 50 years ago and 40 years ago. Give the guy a break.
There was, and plus, you think about the director. The director's more on point, isn't it? Because this was directed by Craig R. Baxley, who the name probably won't jump out to many people. We've done one of his films. We've done Dark Angel, and the other one, which we will get around to eventually, is Action Jackson. This feels like very much one of his films. It feels like, in terms of quality, scale, everything about it fits into the same kind of category, doesn't it?
I love this. The thing of an organization getting the wrong end of the stick, like coppers and soldiers adopted in America, adopted the Punisher symbol. And they used the Punisher symbol. The United States Military Academy's Army football team had adopted the line, God forgives, the Brotherhood doesn't, as a team slogan for many years after some players first heard it in this film. The Academy officially removed the slogan in 2019 after learning that the phrase originated with the Aryan Brotherhood. Oh, shit, we might want to.
The thing is, you could probably watch this film as you did when you were a kid and just not realize that they don't really lean into the whole like word white supremacist thing. It's only when you notice the flag and you see the SS thing, and like you said, the Nazi paraphernalia, which is in the background. It's not like, like we said, like with Prayer of the Rollerboys, it came as a genuine shock when you're watching the film. And as soon as it started, just like, well, this really does lean into the whole white supremacist thing. It's just a massive part of the plot. In this, it is in the background, but it's fucking there, dude. Yeah. It is there. And like, you should just double check things before you make them your slogan, especially when they sound a little bit white supremacist in the first place.
I do wonder when they adopted it. Like, when did they adopt this? Because if they adopted it in the early 90s, because this was 91, that's nearly 30 years of
just a racist slogan. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. Brilliant. So the day the scene in which Ice is immolated in a funeral pyre was the same night as Brian Bosworth's football career ended because of his injuries. He was so depressed at his sports career being over that he almost quit the film and had to be begged to come back and finish filming.
I mean, it must have been a bummer though. Like, that early into your career, you're the new hot shit and that's it. Your career's done.
When Chain says it's better to be first in hell than second in heaven, he's paraphrasing a line from Milton's Paradise Lost, when Satan says it's better to reign in hell than serve in heaven.
Deep stuff. Deep stuff. It's the kind of screenplay you're dealing with here, guys.
The Brotherhood slogan, God forgives, the Brotherhood doesn't, is based on the slogan of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club, an actual motorcycle club.
Probably a racist motorcycle club as well.
Brian Bosworth supplied his own wardrobe and motorcycle, which his character wears and rides in the film. There you go. Proof. He literally just...
You weren't making it up. You're now reading it as fact. And all those things you read it from the internet, we're just like, we'll take that as fact forever now.
William Forsythe stated that the original screenplay was the worst script he'd ever read. Originally, everything his character Ice said was quotes from the Bible.
Oh, it was him, was it? Instead of my apologies.
Ice's comment, we've got a grown-up version of Bam Bam here, was not scripted and instead improvised by actor William Forsythe.
That was actually a pretty good burn.
I was going to say, don't be proud of that line. I didn't like that line.
I thought it was pretty good. I was like, if you're going to like burn that guy out, as soon as they said, like a grown-up version of Bam Bam, I was like, that's kind of what he looks like.
Trouble had no lines in the entire movie.
No, he just looked mean.
Yeah. Bosworth later recalled at a 2014 screening that after watching the film, Bosworth's son exclaimed, "Dad, you didn't really save anybody. Everybody died."
Yeah.
And
it's that whole question, is the Boz or Stone Cold, whatever you want to call him, something... No, sorry, he's got all these ridiculous names, hasn't he? We can call him
John Stone. He's Detective Joe Huff.
Joe Huff.
And the cover is John Stone,
Is he good at his job? Like, we've made it clear he's better at being an undercover cop than some of those other examples, but they're the worst.
Yeah.
Is he genuinely good at his job, though? It's like, he didn't defect to the other side. He didn't become a blue alien and double-cross Earth. But at the same time, a lot of people are dead. And, it's not like he kind of like, we finally stopped the Brotherhood. It's like, well, they went in and shot up an entire fucking courtroom first. So
Yeah,
I don't know how good a job he did. He
he
looks
didn't do
bad
it.
at like the end credit sequence when he's just walking out topless for no apparent
Yeah.
reason, just covered in blood, just being a badass. But at the same time, somebody might come over and be like, dude, like you do realize everyone's dead. There's gonna be a lot of paperwork, and you might end up going to jail for this.
Yeah. The last one I'm going to say then, in the bar scene where Joe meets Ice, the band called Crier performs a song called "Oh Baby." The same song
Mhm.
is played in Under Siege as Erica Elionak pops out with the birthday cake and surprises Steven Seagal.
There's a song playing when she pops out of the birthday cake. I no idea. No fucking idea. I don't know what I'm watching. All I know is Ariel Lennigan jumps out of that cake
There's a
with
birthday cake?
no, I mean, Jesus Christ, maybe the most perfect set of tits I've ever seen in my life. That sounds so crass when I say that, but Jesus Christ, she is so smoking hot in that film.
Oh, hi,
Um,
Bethan. Hi, Liam's wife.
Hi, Beth. Well,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, facts are facts.
Yeah.
How to the Future is where we ask the question: remake, sequel, let it die, leave well alone. Obviously, there wasn't a sequel because this film was a big financial loss for the company. I mean, you can make an argument, a sequel in '93 would have been quite fun, but leave well alone. This is a movie of its time. If anything, it's still out of time because I'm convinced it should have been released 3 years earlier. But yeah, it's a curio. It was fun to watch. I don't need to see any more of it. So
I,
leave well alone.
I
Not
mean,
not let it die. I enjoyed it. Just leave well alone.
I know I agree with you. It will be Leave Well Alone. But the
Mhm.
problem with undercover films is they're all pretty much the same. What this
Mhm.
does differently to the others, as we've already said, is he does his job. Yes, everybody dies, as
Yeah.
his son has pointed out, but
Yeah.
he dismantles the brotherhood. He doesn't fall in love with
Mhm.
the lifestyle. He doesn't do any of that.
No.
He does what he was sent in to do, dismantle the brotherhood. So that's
Yeah.
kind of different to what a lot of the other cover films are, which is, oh, I fall in love with the bad
It's a
guy and I have to
low
make a
bar.
decision. Yeah.
It's a very low bar, but he passed it. That's for sure.
Yeah. But
So
no, I wouldn't want to see a sequel. I don't need a remake. Just
no.
leave it alone. It's fun to watch. One day I'll probably go back and watch it again, but just leave
Mhm,
it alone.
mhm. I totally agree. Make a change if you only make one change to make this movie better. For me, I mean, unless it's kind of change his underwear, it's lose the mafia stuff and the drugs. The mafia and the drugs, I feel like they're all kind of hand in hand. That part of the story could absolutely go. If we're going to take a serious approach to this in terms of actually improving it, that can all go.
Let's be clear, you are 100% correct. But what I put
Mhm,
was one change that could elevate the film would be giving Bosworth's character a bit more personality beyond angry man with great hair.
mhm,
Give him a
mhm.
few more grounded emotional beats or a proper rivalry arc with chains or ice. You kind
Yep.
of add weight to the carnage. Maybe give the Brotherhood a motivation that isn't just chaos is cool. So,
No, like I said
yeah,
earlier, like that would have been one of my other options, like the whole kind of Point Break, Fast and Furious thing. Make that kind of relationship, given an extra layer there. But I had to pick one. I was just like, it's already too busy. And basically, in my head, I'm like, well, if you lose the mafia stuff, you can improve the relationships. That's where the narrative can go. But yeah, it is what it is. In terms of video games, I suspect we might have the same one here. So there wasn't a Stone Cold video game in 1991, but if we're going to make one today, it would undoubtedly be Ben Studios and Days Gone. And honestly, I would just keep the zombies and have it as a surprise sequel. Like, his you can see the tagline. Okay, first he fought white supremacists, but now the boss will face his greatest test: hordes of zombies, Stone Cold 2, Dead Meat, come this fall. It's like I would just keep the same game, but just basically plonk the boss into it and just say, yeah, it's just Stone Cold 2, basically.
I mean, let's be clear. You've won this one. You have
Mm-hmm.
won. I haven't put Days Gone.
I was just convinced because you're a big fan of that game as well, aren't you?
I am a big fan of that game. I
Yeah, yeah.
really enjoy that game. It kind of didn't hit the mark for a lot of people, so we'll never get the sequel that we were promised. But
I think it was a slow burn. It actually sold pretty well. Some of the writing was a little bit iffy, but I love the whole like low level maintenance of your bike to make it more of a character.
yeah,
Like in the same way they did with another game we both love is Mad Max, where you had the same thing with the car where you're slowly upgrading it. It's not
yeah,
like over the top or anything, but it just keeps that attachment to the vehicle. And the world was cool. The zombies, the whole horde mechanic.
the
I thought it was
horde,
great. I just wish it had the boss in it.
the horde battles I thought were great because you couldn't
Yeah, yeah.
always defeat the horde, so you had to outrun them or
Mm-hmm.
like plan traps first of all. Like put my fucking I love that game. I would go back and well, I probably will go back and play it at some point. For
Mm-hmm.
me, I did by Eutechnix, I think I'm saying that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Ride to Hell's Retribution.
Right, how Retribution, that rings
Yeah.
a bell.
Uh a biker gang action game with a reputation so bad it's practically folklore at this point. I mean, it's not a good game. It's got clunky combat. It's chaotic storytelling. The characters look like they were rendered on a toaster, right? But it's a world full of leather, violence, and questionable life
That's
choices.
a 360 game. Yeah, I
Yeah,
totally know that game. Yeah,
yeah.
and it's
It's
ass.
it's terrible, but it's also has stone cold energy. If I'm being
It
honest with you,
does.
yeah.
Do you know what the terrible thing is? I'm looking at the images and it's all for that same game. And there's just one random image of Mind's Eye stuck in there. Everyone's just shit on Mind's Eye. And the only reason I bring that up is because we're talking about for this podcast. I quite like Mind's Eye. I'm like, in fairness, it's a year out from when it was released, so it's been patched and stuff. It's not a bad game. It's not like that's a bad game. Like, there's no amount of patches which is going to fix Ride to Hell Retribution. Mind's Eye's not bad. Anyway, sorry, that is a complete aside. My apologies.
No. Go for it. But yeah, so I went that one. But then when you threw in Days Gone, I was like, oh fuck, actually, the boss just moving along to zombies could actually work. So
Well, it was just that was my only issue with Days Gone. Like I loved so much that game. I just thought the main character was a little bit annoying, and it's just because they found that like middle ground where he wasn't quite caricatured enough, but then he wasn't relatable because I never really bought him as a human being. And part of me is just like, just go full Boz, just make him an absolute fucking psycho.
plus his name sucked.
His name
Deacon St.
sucks.
John.
Oh, it's the worst. That's what I mean. If his name was Deacon St. John and he looked like the Boz, it would kind of fucking work.
What was his sidekick's name? Do you remember his sidekick's name?
I cannot remember. I haven't played the updated one. I've just played the original PS3, PS4 one. Sorry,
Boozer.
Boozer. Jesus
Boozer.
Christ. See,
Awful
the
names.
thing is, you can take all the names from this film and put them into that game. Honestly, I think we're on solid gold there. That leads us to IMDb. So this is where we pick out one random 10-star and 1-star review. Before we do that, I tried to guess how many written reviews there are on IMDb for this film, and I'm not great at this bit. And I'm good. It has to be low, man. It just fucking 62, 122,
108.
108. Okay,
108, yeah. How many tens?
Of 108? I bet you some people have a boner for this film. 12?
17. You're getting close.
17? See,
Yeah.
I get the second bit better once I have the fundamental number. It's the initial number I have the issue with.
I love the title. Wow. Bosworth and Henriksen is at their best.
Fantastic. We're off to the races.
Again, wow. What a movie. I really love this kind of flick, but I wonder how come this movie is not a success at the box office. I mean, I could tell you why. Moreover, there are only around 2,000 voters who voted for this movie, and yet the ratings given here is only 5.2. I don't think this movie deserves a low rating. It should be more than 6, I guess. To all people who gives this movie a low vote and bad reviews about Stone Cold, please watch this movie again and judge this movie as an simple action movie, not drama, war, or anything else. Because Stone Cold is definitely not an Oscar-nominated movie, but indeed it does have good elements, hard-hitting action and violence. Give this movie a try if you're a fan of Lance Henriksen. I guarantee you will love this flick. 10 stars out of 10, excellent. I mean, what I got.
I mean, just to be clear, that sounds like it was written by Charlie Day from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Vote for me, good. Yes, yes.
One day I'd love to, like, I'm not going to do it myself. Somebody to take all of the times I've read these reviews and just put them into one compilation of me sounding like an absolute psycho.
Yeah, I mean the fact that you're willing to like read them as they're written, because you like you said, that's the first time you read them.
I'm not trying to change up. I'm not trying to change up.
No. I like the fact that you knew what you're getting into and you added a bit of tone. I think that was very helpful. But yeah, absolute psycho, and rightly so. Nobody in their right mind should give this film like, especially on a 10-star scale. Like, I'm going to give this film 10 out of 10. Are you out of your? Sorry, I know the answer. Yes, you're out of your fucking mind. 1-star reviews. This seems a little bit more understandable. Like you said, unsurprisingly.
Oh, hang on. I will help you with this. It's lower than you think.
No, I was going to say, I suspect a lot of people like this. I reckon there's going to be a lot of kind of like 6s for this film. I bet you loads of people are just like, I can see the faults, but it's fun. Like, how many 1-star? I'm guessing like 7?
3.
3. All right, fair play. That is low. That is low because it wouldn't be unforgivable to give this film a 1-star review. But as we said, it's decently made.
Yeah. Right. So this was titled possibly the worst movie ever put on film.
Here we go.
If you've seen this movie, you know what I'm talking about. Any movie store that carries this movie should be forced to put up a disclaimer disassociating them from any lawsuits that may be brought on by their sickened customers. On the upside, though, fans of professional wrestling will be able to quickly identify the inspiration for badass Billy Gunn. Seriously, this movie has no redeeming value whatsoever. In fact, it's so unkettle, it should be criminal.
Unkettle.
Unkettle.
I just love the idea that is when in like every so often a movie or some douchebag will try and make like a term a thing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I'm gonna make unkettle a thing. It's like, fuck off, Steve. You are the fucking worst. Unbelievable. So yeah, he beyond the unkettle thing, a lot of the stuff he's saying isn't utterly unreasonable. It's more than a little harsh, but unsurprisingly, it's better written than the lunatic who gave this film 10 stars, which leads us to our own scores and recommendations. And honestly, after like years of fighting against the whole half-star system, it feels like the dam has finally broken. It feels like every week now I'm just folding and giving half scores because I'm doing it again. It's for me, it's a 2.5-star film. Like, it'd be easy to give it a two stars and say it's all a bit silly, but I genuinely enjoyed this film. It's got, as we've stressed over the past hour and change, it's got tons of fucking problems. But it's, like I said, pretty well directed, shot, acted. It's fun. It's dumb as a bag of hammers for sure. It's far too busy. But yeah, absolutely. I'm willing to stick to 2.5 stars.
I'm going to agree with you. Did you recommend?
Oh, I'm sorry. Just be clear. I'm not recommending this to anyone, unless it would have to be very specific. Basically, it's that whole conversation. If you hadn't seen this and we weren't having this conversation and we weren't doing this podcast, I would phone you, specifically you, and say, "Dude, you have to watch Stone Cold." But you're the only person I'm calling. Like you said, the example I always use is, am I going to work tomorrow and telling everyone's like, guys, you've got to watch 1991 Stone Cold? Absolutely fucking not. So yeah, it's 2.5 and a no from me.
You've pretty much said everything I would have said. 2.5 from me. I probably wouldn't ring you for this film. Unless it was the podcast, but I would ring Dave and I'd say, Dave, you've got to watch this film. But
Yeah,
you're starting to come down to my level, unfortunately. I bless you. Like Buckaroo Banzai, like all these
are
films.
all good films. No, I think there's a massive difference, and we mentioned it. As we've talked about this movie, there is these like straight to DVD like Jack Frost, which you picked for the Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I don't mean to shit on your choice, but that's like a bad film. It's like a straight to DVD. It was never really released in the cinema.
I never once said it was good.
No, I know. But my point is, like, you've watched a lot more of those films, the kind where, generally speaking, I wouldn't touch with a barge pole. It's like the fourth sequel. It's horribly directed. It's horribly acted. The cast is.
Yeah.
You occasionally get like a little bit of gold in there, but you've really got to dig for it. And fair play to you. God bless your heart. You're willing to do that digging. This film and Buckaroo Banzai, they don't belong. These are like curios. Like, yeah, it didn't hit big, but as I said, like, I don't watch this film and go, oh, it's fucking, like, there are certain movies, and you get it with expensive films sometimes as well, where as soon as you start it, you can just see the way it's directed, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna fucking hate this. And like I said, this isn't just exclusive to like straight to VHS, straight to DVD fare. I watched the first 5 minutes of what was the Rock Johnson superhero film, the DC one he did,
Black Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
Within honestly like 30 seconds of that start, and I was just like, I'm gonna fuck it. I just hate the way this film looks. It's such an ugly film, and that costs like fucking 200 million. So it happens all the time. But yeah, as soon as this movie started, I was just like, yeah, it's a good looking film. This might be kind of fun. And it was. So fair play. But yeah, a good choice. But yeah, maybe you are dragging me down. Who knows? Maybe I wouldn't have said this a couple of years ago.
Dude, after we said it before the pod started, after 5 years of doing this, nearly 5 years of doing
5 years. Well, what I'm going to have to do is drag you up and get you to watch Unforgiven and realize it's a masterpiece. We'll get there eventually.
Pick Unforgiven. I mean, just because I was I don't even know if I've seen it. I just know I'm not going to like it, but maybe I'll change my mind. You never know.
I think you will, unless you hate westerns. I think maybe you'll
pick it. I'll pick it. We'll put it on the list. Let's get Unforgiven. Every time
we're not picking it next week.
No, every time I think we've done a lot of the films and we can happily say, right, hey, you guys has ended. I think, fuck me, we've got a lot to get through. Like my list keeps growing. My list keeps growing. It's
Well,
ridiculous.
there's a whole bunch of films which, generally speaking, I've kind of put off because I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to end up arguing with Rob on this. But eventually, I'm just going to fold and go like, ah, fuck it, he's going to have to do them. But next week, this is going to be an interesting because I don't know how you'll feel about this film, and a large part of it will depend on whether you have an attachment to it from your youth. So I was going to pick either, I mentioned earlier, American History X or Mississippi Burning. I'm not going to go for those. Instead, I'm keeping it in that kind of early '90s vibe. So I've gone for the year 1990.
Okay.
The,
A bit more.
the director, this will not be helpful unless you specifically know this film. So the director is Nicholas Roeg. Now, he is most famous for directing Don't Look Now, the kind of horror masterpiece from the 70s, and The Man Who Fell to Earth, the kind of David Bowie curio.
Yeah.
That in no way gives you any suggestion for the film.
No.
Like, you would never guess that the guy who directed those films directed the film I've picked for next week.
Okay. I'm still going to need a little bit more.
The main star is Angelica Houston. That might get you over the line. Might.
1990. The Witches wasn't 1990, was it?
It was 1990, and you fucking nailed it. Good
Oh,
job, buddy.
nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, The Witches is a film I haven't seen in a long time, but it was a massive part of my youth. The book was a big deal. The film was a big deal. I always remember the transformation scene being amazing. Obviously, there was the kind of remake a couple of years ago with Anne Hathaway, which kind of... And I was kind of looking forward to it, but then the reviews were not very good. There was Robert Zemeckis as well, I think, directed that.
I think so, yeah. My wife is going to love you because she loves this film. So
actually, it was exactly the same. The last 2 weeks, my wife has had no interest in watching Prayer of the Rollerboys or Stone Cold. She will 100% be keen on watching The Witches as well.
I'm currently just Googling, by the way. The Witches 1990. Are they white supremacists? I just want to make sure we're not actually...
Just to be sure.
Just in case.
Sure. Are the witches Nazis? I fucking hope not. Jesus
Short
Christ.
answer, no.
No, that's good. Yeah. That's good. But yeah, I like, as much as I had an attachment to this film and I watched it so much when I was younger, I genuinely was just like, I have no idea who directed this film. No fucking clue.
No,
and when I found out it was Nicholas Roeg, I was like, wait, isn't that the guy who directed fucking Don't Look Now?
This is a Roald Dahl, isn't it?
Yeah, Roald Dahl, yeah.
Yeah, of course it is. We haven't
Oh, shit. He was a famous Nazi sympathizer. We've done it again. Seriously.
Yeah.
Fuck. White supremacy rears its ugly head for the third movie in a row. That is an absolute accident, by the way. I love you even typed it in. Does the Witches have anything to do with white supremacists? Well, it's fucking right it does. Shit.
Yeah, well, it's getting down to the bottom, and it said Roald Dahl's personal controversies. Look,
yeah.
You made me laugh so hard. I'm coughing. You can move that aside, and we can say that the Witches clearly no white supremacists, so we're fine.
Yeah, but there might be an undertone in the writing now. I'm worried with Roald Dahl. Jesus
Don't look
Christ.
into it now.
Unfucking believable. I mean, if we can go the whole month and just keep accidentally picking movies with connections to white supremacy, it'd be a hell of an achievement. But I can honestly say, people will be listening to this now and be like, fuck off, guys. You knew exactly what you're doing. No clue. I had totally forgot when I picked Prayer of the Rollerboys. That was the really weird one because it's a big part of the plot, and both of us had completely forgotten. This film, it is in the background, but it's fucking there. And the Witches, like, The Witches, I'm going to pick a nice family-friendly movie. The writer definitely has a history, man. So, So it is what it is. So next week, we're covering 1990s The Witches, a film, like I said, very fond memories of. It was a very, one of those movies all my friends watched when I was young. I'm not sure if it's the same with your friend group, but it was just like, it felt like everybody watched The Witches. But like so many films of our views where it felt like it was on TV all the time, I feel like it's just disappeared. It felt like The Witches was on TV all the time when I was younger. And now it's like, when was the last time it was on? Maybe it was just being superseded by the remake, but I haven't seen it for a long time.
It used to come on like Christmas time, like holiday time.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't seen The Witches for a long time. I believe it's on Sky. Anyway, for anyone who's interested. No, just for those like in the UK who are interested in giving it a watch before the podcast, I'm pretty sure it's on Sky Movies at the moment.
You've super upset me that said it's 1990. I was fucking 7 when this film came out.
Yeah, I was 8, and every time we do maths, it's never happy. Before we start this podcast, we were talking about Pirates of the Caribbean, the original trilogy, and how much we both liked the original trilogy, but didn't like the subsequent films. And I was like, those films, like, they're technically amazing, especially for films that are like 15 years old. And you're like, dude, they're like 20. The first film was what, like 23 years old?
Yeah, I was looking at Cheers the other day.
Right? Wait, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Pirates of the Caribbean is almost a quarter of a century old. Let that sink in, you old fucks.
It was stop making me laugh. You're going to kill me. I was looking at Cheers the other day, the Ted Danson TV show.
So weird.
He
I
was
Googled Ted Danson today.
he was a
So
washed-up baseball star. He was 34. The old guy in there, coach, before Woody
Yeah.
Harrelson came in, was 58. Norm, the drunk, 32.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Although the other surprise thing is like, I was like, I wonder how old he is now. Like, oh, maybe he's kind of kicking on towards 78 years old. It's
Yeah,
like, oh yeah, because Cheers was like a lifetime ago. Crazy.
It was,
stuff,
yeah,
crazy
late
stuff.
70s, early 80s. Fucking Razor Crane came into that thing. He was 29.
I know. But that was just a different time. You see, if you go back and watch football from like the 70s and 80s, you're like, wait, did they used to let like middle-aged men play football? No, they're all in their 20s. They just look old as fuck because they were just rinsing beers and smoking busters every night. Anyway, this has been 1991 Stone Cold. Please do join us next week for apparently another white supremacist related movie, 1990s The Witches. I've been Liam, he's been Rob, and you've been listening to the Hey Guys podcast, and he's waving at me like I'd forgotten something.
Anything else to add? I know I don't usually add things, but I do have something
do you
to
have
add.
anything else to add?
Yeah.
Right, go for it. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, man.
That's okay. We had a message from one of our listeners, Matt Johnson. And he was listening to the Rollerboys episode, and he said, listening to all the Corey Haim talk recently made me remember him as the pimp/strip club owner in Crank 2. Would you ever do the Crank films, or are they a bit new? I personally think they're amazing films. I mean, we have covered films in that era, so I can't see it being like.
Well, it would I'm a genuine fan of Crank 1, or I certainly was when I watched it. I actually responded to that message, and while I'm not the biggest fan of Crank 2, it does have arguably the greatest tagline in movie history. He died, but he got better.
Yeah.
Like, when I saw the poster, I was just like, that's a fucking awesome tagline. The
which
film
one
was
would
like, whatever.
Which one would you cover? I would probably say Crank 2 because it's more batshit. He's running around with an artificial heart.
I'd say Crank 1 just because it's a better film.
Yeah, but I don't know if I want to do better when it comes to Crank. I want to do what's most insane.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. I'm just thinking purely from a perspective, which one would I want to rewatch? And 100% it would be Crank 1.
Which one does he fuck Amy Smart more in? 1 or 2?
I think it's 1 because that's a big part of him trying to keep his energy up, so he's constantly having sex with her.
Which is the one where she's riding him while he's on a race track. I think it's number 2.
I think that might be number 2 as they're just trying to push it out. Amy Smart used to be like a big deal for a while, didn't she? It's like I haven't seen anything for ages.
No,
she was like
not a long time.
Hotness for a while. But yeah, to answer your question, it's not unthinkable we would cover Crank 1 or 2. Obviously, we would have to have more of a discussion on which one's covered because we seem to have disagreed on that one. But yeah, like we've covered plenty of relatively modern. And when this is going to be another one of those fucking movies where I'm like, oh, we can cover like modern films. Like it was released like 2 years ago. Crank's
I'm going to say
12 years ago.
I think Crank was 2007.
Fuck off, 2007.
Oh, no, I was wrong. 2006.
2010? Shut the front door. It was 2006.
Yeah, Crank was 2006.
Crank is 20 years old.
And Crank 2 is 2009.
I'm talking about it like it's a contemporary film. There's a real world possibility that somebody's listening to this podcast who wasn't born when fucking Crank came out. Oh my God. It's depressing. See, this is why we should have stopped talking. We shouldn't have read that stupid fucking letter. It wasn't stupid. I do apologize. I'm just upset about maths again. It's absolutely ludicrous. So yeah, we're going to stop mentioning the years because when we say 80s and 90s, it's like, oh, I can remember watching this as a kid and that feels like a long time ago. When it's stuff from like 20 years ago, I have such a vivid memory. Like, oh, if someone told me that Crank was released 10 years ago, I'd be like, okay, sure. And then you're just adding another decade. What the fuck, dude? 2006. When you said you got it wrong, I briefly felt better. I was like, oh, that's going to be fine. He's going to say it was like 2012. No. I'm going the other way. It's even
I mean, what really upset, you've already said it, Pirates of the Caribbean was 2003.
Oh my God. Let's just end the podcast. I've already read the blurb at the end. All right. Cheers, guys. Bye.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. Bye now. Shaking his head.
Oh, and before I forget, where can folk reach us if they were so inclined to?
Well, you can actually reach us on Hey You Guys 80s at Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. But if you want to send us a mail, do heyyouguys80s@gmail.com. Send us in your recommendations. Send us in your thoughts about any of the episodes. Just literally talk to us. We'll have a one-sided talk with you on the podcast.
Yeah. We're nice folk. Get in touch. But no, cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, guys. Bye now.
Hey, you guys!